The hype train moves a bit too fast in today's world, and the NFL is no exception. All it takes is a few big plays, the right guy with the right college resume getting taken by the right team, or heck, even one viral training camp clip, and suddenly a guy goes from promising rookie or up-and-coming star to future face of the league in the blink of an eye. And look, it is sometimes justified. We've seen it happen. Heck, Justin Jefferson lived up to the hype, so did Patrick Mahomes, Sauce Gardner, and Micah Parsons. When the talent is real, you can feel it right away. But you know, the truth is that for every breakout phenom that makes good on the early buzz, there are 10 more guys who just don't. Brian Bosworth, LB. Brian Bosworth was built for hype. He has the hair, swagger, and of course, the trash talk. Not to mention, he had more than enough movie villain energy to go around. He was a marketing machine and a media sensation, and for a hot second, the most famous linebacker in football without ever making a play on Sundays. Drafted by the Seahawks in the 1987 supplemental draft after a legendary, controversial college career at Oklahoma, Bosworth entered the league with a 10-year, $11 million contract, which was unheard of money for a linebacker at the time. Nike launched an entire ad campaign around him. The Boz was bigger than the game, or so it seemed. Then, the actual football started. Bosworth flashed decent instincts and could hit, sure, but his doubter's hypothesis rang true. His bark was always louder than his bite. Robert Griffin III, QB. Robert Griffin III was everything that you could ask for in a young franchise QB. Explosive, charismatic, polished. Until Mike Shanahan left him in a playoff game on a shredded knee, and, well, that injury changed everything. RG3 was just never the same player again. His explosiveness and confidence just sort of dissipated into thin air. He was rattled through and through, and his relationship with the coaching staff became, well, a bit toxic. And what was supposed to be the beginning of a journey to Canton turned into a cautionary tale, because by year 3, he wasn't even starting. Just a couple of years later, he was out of the league and cast away into the media biz. People today forget how loud the hype actually was. Nike commercials, Subway deals, and fantasy QB1 to the upteenth degree. He was supposed to be the guy in Washington, but instead, he got caught in a cyclone of bad coaching decisions, front office dysfunction, and a body that just couldn't keep up with the punishment. And so, his career declined as quickly as it started. Aaron Curry, LB. There was a time that Aaron Curry's name alone turned heads. In fact, he was even dubbed the safest pick in the draft in 2009, which led him to go 4th overall to Seattle, where he was viewed as a can't-miss linebacker prospect thanks to his speed, size, and instincts. Unfortunately, he just never really figured it out in the NFL. By year 3, the excitement around him had all but vanished, and he was benched. And by year 5, well, the man was out of the league entirely. Chase Young, DE. It's not that Chase Young was simply hyped coming into the NFL, it's that he was anointed. Coming out of Ohio State, he was viewed as a generational defensive end prospect. Not really good, not should be solid, no, we're talking Myles Garrett type impact. He had the motor, the frame, the footwork, the polish. He looked like a player built in a lab, and when Washington took him 2nd overall in 2020, absolutely nobody blinked. And hey, to his credit, Young came out swinging. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year and made the Pro Bowl. He was the emotional and physical centerpiece of a scrappy, playoff-bound Washington team. And it felt like the floodgates were about to open. But in year 2, he just sort of disappeared. 1.5 sacks in 9 games, then a torn ACL. When he returned, the burst was gone. The motor just wasn't the same. He played tentative. There were whispers about effort, rehab habits, and locker room presence. Now, it's not over quite yet, but man, the difference between how he was talked about in 2020 and how he's talked about now, that gap is massive. Vince Young, QB. There was a moment right after the 2006 Rose Bowl where Vince Young felt inevitable. He had just put on one of the greatest performances in college football history, beating a loaded USC team in what amounted to a national championship classic. His stock could not have been higher. He wasn't just a dual-threat QB, he was a force. And he stormed out of the gates in the NFL, winning Offensive Rookie of the Year honors after Tennessee took him 3rd overall, with the Pro Bowl nod to boot. On paper, everything was working, but behind the curtains, it was anything but smooth. Young never fully grasped NFL defenses, and there were issues with his mechanics and decision-making. Plus, he just really clashed with Jeff Fisher, which led to confidence issues and reportedly pushed him towards considering retirement early on in his career. After a rocky fallout in Tennessee, he bounced to Philly, Buffalo, Green Bay, and Cleveland. But he never started another game. Vince Young's decline wasn't just physical. It was emotional, organizational, and personal. Trent Richardson, RB. No one had a higher floor coming out of college than Trent Richardson. Or at least so we all thought. He was built like a tank at Alabama, ran with power, had solid hands, and looked like the prototype for a modern three-down back. Cleveland took him third overall in 2012 and immediately handed him the keys. And hey, you know, to his credit, his rookie year was very impressive. 11 touchdowns and over 1,300 total yards. But you know, something always felt a little bit off. The vision wasn't sharp and the burst just wasn't there. At least not to get away from NFL caliber defenders. The Browns didn't wait around to see if it would work. Just 1 year in, they pulled off one of the most shocking trades in recent memory, sending him to Indianapolis for a first-round pick, where all his weaknesses bubbled to the surface. Trent Richardson didn't just decline, he flatlined. From top 3 pick to out of the league in under 4 seasons. He went to the CFL, flirted with spring leagues, and chased comebacks that just never came. Josh Gordon, WR. At his peak, Josh Gordon looked like the most unstoppable receiver in football. In 2013, he led the NFL in receiving yards despite missing 2 games, racking up back-to-back 200-yard performances and doing it all with Browns quarterbacks that you've almost definitely forgotten. But Gordon's off-field battles were not so secret. Repeated substance abuse violations led to suspensions, rehab stints, and endless last chances. The league kept throwing him lifelines, and fans kept hoping that the talent would shine through again. There were glimpses. He'd come back with the Patriots in 2018 showed flashes, and a short stint in Seattle hinted at potential. But unfortunately, it just never stuck. He'd get reinstated, then disappear again. Josh Gordon's decline wasn't due to a lack of ability. It just was everything else. Johnny Manziel, QB. Johnny Manziel had one of the loudest entrances into the NFL that we have ever seen. He was a former Heisman winner with a brand all of his own. Electric playmaker, TMZ headliner, Drake sidekick, and when the Browns took him 22nd overall in 2014, it felt like Cleveland was finally swinging big. But Johnny football never materialized at the NFL level. The same backyard improvisation that made him a legend at Texas A&M quickly unraveled against NFL speed and complexity. He didn't study, he didn't lead, and when he did play, he just looked overwhelmed. The Browns cut bait fast, and the rest of the league wisely followed. He had a brief, messy stint in the CFL, then in the short-lived AAF, before exiting football entirely. Rolando McClain, LB. Rolando McClain wasn't just a great linebacker at Alabama. He was the alpha, the quarterback of Nick Saban's defense. Physical, smart, instinctive. A top 10 pick by the Raiders in 2010, he was supposed to stabilize a franchise in desperate need of leadership. Instead, McClain became the poster boy of unfulfilled promise and being a coach's nightmare. Reports of attitude issues and missed assignments followed him. His off-field life was even more chaotic, multiple arrests, legal trouble, and a reputation that quickly made him untrustable. So, after 3 years of inconsistent play, the Raiders cut him. He attempted to bounce back with Ravens and Cowboys, but any hope was short-lived. More suspensions, drama, and failed drug tests, and thus, the decline was cemented. Darren McFadden, RB. Darren McFadden was a monster at Arkansas, a 2-time Heisman runner-up, elite speed, breakaway ability, and looked like the next great NFL workhorse. When the Raiders took him 4th overall in 2008, most people thought that they'd nailed it. Unfortunately, McFadden never stayed healthy. Foot issues, hamstrings, turf toe, you name it. He missed 29 games over his first 5 seasons. He would return, build up steam, then immediately disappear. And when he did play, he just didn't have that same spark. In the end, he finished with just 2 1,000-yard seasons in a decade-long career. Not a bust, but a textbook example of a highly touted prospect, whose potential was never fully realized. Josh Rosen, QB. Josh Rosen famously said, "There were 9 mistakes made before me," after being drafted 10th overall by the Cardinals in 2018. But, well, as it turns out, the mistake might have been taking him at all. Granted, he was put in a very brutal situation in Arizona behind a porous line with a rookie head coach, but still, the results were very ugly. 11 touchdowns, 14 picks, and a 3-10 record. After just 1 year, the Cardinals gave up and drafted Kyler Murray. Rosen's problems weren't just physical. It was a complete lack lack of feel. He never seemed to elevate those around him or command a huddle, and for all the talk of him being pro-ready, he looked anything but, which is exactly why he was quickly chased out of the league and all but forgotten. Ereck Flowers, OT. Ereck Flowers entered the league under a media microscope. Taken 9th overall in the 2015 NFL Draft, the New York Giants were banking on him to lock down left tackle for the next decade. He came in big, 6'6", 330 pounds, anchored with a Hurricanes pedigree, and started week 1 of his rookie season, but reality hit fast. Over his 4 seasons in New York, Flowers allowed a staggering 180 quarterback pressures, the most in the league over that span. He quickly became one of the most reviled players on the squad, both for the fans and the media, until finally, the Giants declined his 5th-year option and he was cut in 2018. What started as a top 10 pick expected to anchor an offensive line turned into a forced position switch, journeymaning, and early fade into irrelevance. Reggie Bush, RB. Reggie Bush was more than the guy, or a superstar at USC. He was a phenomenon that swept the nation. He operated out there like the defense was an afterthought. He could do whatever he wanted with the football in his hands. He became must-watch television. By the time the 2006 NFL Draft rolled around, most analysts had already engraved his name on offensive Rookie of the Year trophies. New Orleans didn't think twice about taking him 2nd overall, and the hype around Bush almost was unprecedented. To be fair, Bush carved out a decent career. He played 11 years, had a 1,000-yard season in Miami, and even topped 500 receiving yards multiple times. But man, he just peaked so dang early in his career. Not to mention that he was often injured. He was also inconsistent between the tackles and never became the Superman coming out of the backfield like he was in college, instead falling victim to a mortal decline. Vernon Gholston, DE. Coming out of Ohio State, he looked like a monster. 6'3", 260 pounds, ran a 4.6, benched 225 pounds 37 times, and had scouts salivating over his explosiveness. The Jets took him 6th overall in 2008 and penciled him in as their franchise edge rusher. Then he got on the field, and the results were uninspiring, to say the very least. In 3 full seasons with the Jets, Gholston didn't just underperform, he made almost no impact. He didn't record a single sack. Not one. For a top 10 pick pass rusher, that is unthinkable. His technique never developed. His motor was meh, and he looked lost in every defensive scheme that they put him in. He is a classic case of player whose hype was only matched by the disappointment that he brought as he slid downhill and out of the league. Maurice Clarett, RB. As a freshman at Ohio State in 2002, Clarett looked like a future Hall of Famer. He had vision and power that seemed way beyond his years. Racking up 1,200 yards, scored 18 touchdowns, and carrying the Buckeyes to a national championship. In dramatic fashion, no less. Then it all unraveled. Clarett clashed with coaches, got into it with the NCAA, and was suspended for the entire 2003 season. By the time Denver took him in the 3rd round in 2005, he was out of shape, surrounded by off-field red flags, and had lost the juice that once made him special. And he never played a snap in the NFL. This was a whole nother level of quick decline. Yeesh. Heck, it wasn't a decline, it was a free fall. But hey, which hyped NFL player do you think had his career decline most quickly? Who do you think we got right here? Who do you think we got wrong? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.